Yo, okay, so this is my favorite song to break down. I'm excited to break down this one. We are now breaking down Stop Comparing Lives. Okay, so for this one, also the same as most of my not most of my other songs, but a good amount of my other songs. I love starting with a splice sample, and I found this one specifically, and I'm just like, this shit's cold. I have to use it. So this is what it sounded like originally. And then from that, I decided let me just pitch it up a little. So then I pitched it up, and from that I got this. I pitched it up 200 cents, which is two semitones, which got that stop comparing live sound, you know. And then from that I went directly into the drums. I went directly into the drums. But I will show the other melodies before I even do that. I found another one on Splice just so I can kind of have a different break part to it. Same thing, pitched it up twice, where it was 200 cents, two semitones, and I got this. Just for like a bridge part. That's the only time this appears, it's in the bridge. And then for that whole bridge part, I got another like lead off of Splice. I was gonna play one, but then it ended up not fitting that well, so I just got one off of Splice and then did the same thing, pitched it up 200 cents, got this. And then the last melody, which is the reverse thing at the end of the song, that's just the melody from Look Rich, Feel Rich, and that also was from Splice. But that melody from Look Rich, Feel Rich, I had that, but just in its regular way and like kind of coming up, so it made like a transition. It's also a lot faster. Okay, and then after all the melodies, we went straight into the drums. The drums are just chops of like drums loops that I had from this kit that I bought specifically for this song, and I just took the drum loops and chopped whatever sounds I liked, and then made my own drums out of it. So I took this kick from this loop, and then turned the pattern into this. So it's like the hi hats and the kick from that sample, and I just used them kind of together. And then from that, I took this rim shot from this other drum loop, and then I believe I added reverb to this just so it had like a reverbish effect. I did not. It just sounded like that. Okay, but yeah, I took those, added them together. Then we got this simple drum pattern. And then we added another hi-hat loop. It just instead of chopping this, I just left the loop how it was. Then add them all together. That's what these three sound like. Hands down, some of my best drums I feel like I've made. They're so simple, but it just hit the right amount. And then added this open hat to the whole beat, just kind of like coming in and out at random spots. And just letting it just do its thing. I chopped it a little so it didn't have like the full sound of it, and it didn't last that long. So yeah, so the open hat's pretty simple as well. Just taking it, putting it in a specific spot, taking it out a little so it like fades out, so all of it isn't there. And then from that, I added this open clav in the beat as well. This does have reverb on it, I believe. No, it also doesn't. I just used a lot of sounds that had like already reverbish like effects to it. So took that, and that comes in every now and then, not like the whole beat. So it's like this is what those all sound like together. And then as the beat keeps going on, I just add more and like different fiddly ass sounds. Like there's this random ass roll. And then there's this fill that I turned kind of just into the beat rather than just putting it at the last bar. I kind of incorporated it into the beat. So it just wasn't like a random fill out throughout. See, that feels so much better than it just being a roll. And that happens throughout the song. It comes in and out and in and out just whenever it kind of pleases. And then there's also this other roll that I added. Just so, you know, just like using it as a proper roll, just so it can have that one moment of rolling. And then, let's see, from that, I added this sample from Arcade. It's like a vocal sample. And Arcade's like a place where you can get a bunch of like cool vocal samples and shit like that. I would show you the actual like Arcade preset, but I don't have Arcade anymore. So I just exported it out so it can be like this. And then there's multiple throughout the song. So there's like that one, then there's this one. There we go. And that just comes in and out. And then there's also this extra sound. This is like a big part of the bridge that comes in, like just that one guitar hit, nothing else, just that one guitar hit. It took this entire guitar and used that one part of it in that one spot. Actually, that's a lie. It's in the leading up point to the bridge, and I only used it that one time, and then after that, I use it as kind of like stabs in the bridge. I did add effects to this though. It sounds dry like this. And then with the effects, the reverb, fab filter reverb, doing all of that shit. This is the first time I ever used this filter, so our effect, so I believe I just used the preset, but it worked perfectly. Then Flangus, doing some of that, you know, just adding an extra cool sound to it, and then EQing out the lows and the highs. And panning it a little bit to the side. This beat's pretty nuts, man, and most of the drum elements together sound a bit like this. And then, let me see, the bit of the bridge sounds like this. After that was the whole beat, just arranged it, took things in, took things out, added drums in, added drums out, stuff like that. And then I went into the vocals, which then I started off with the hook, of course. And from the hook, I just sung the lyrics that I had for it, and I did 2 takes for it.
Looking through your window of your change. Change is so simple, I simply cannot change.
And then I did another take, singing it a little different. So for that mix, it's 2 different mixes, the hook mix and then the verse mix. So for the hook vocals specifically, the chain consists of an auto-tune, which, you know, has that, of course, that beautiful sound that it gives to it. Very light though, because I kind of I want it to sound like I can sing, but I can't. So we have it very light, just doing enough to where it like not perfects it, but makes it just beautiful. And then from that, we have an EQ kind of taking out some of the lows, but then kind of boosting some of the highs and just sounds that I do want in. It's kind of like a remover, like a subtractive EQ and an additive EQ. So from that, we go to the compressor. This is kind of a light compression, but it's like not a light compression. And then from that, added this limiter doing that. Sound Goodizer, give it that extra sound, turn it all the way up, that extra presence, de-essing some of the sounds, very light reverb, another EQ doing that. Sometimes I don't be knowing what these EQs do, I just know they sound beautiful. And then a delay, very subtle, same shebang. And for the beat, it also wasn't any crazy mixes. There's a lot of just EQing out and then reverbing shit. So nothing crazy. And then from the hook, we go into the verse, which is also set up the exact same. It's a main take and a double, except it's just on a different mix. So for this one, it's a main take. So there's a main take and a double, and then on the verses only, there's an in and out, which is saying the last words of the bar. And they have a different mix. So for the verse, the mix goes a bit like this, having the reverb and delay in different chains, and then linking the main bus to it. So it's like the way it comes in is not just fully on the actual channel. It like has its own space, and I can EQ out the stuff that I don't need in the reverb and the delay. So from that, we take out the auto tune, use this EQ subtractive, compression, and then we go to another EQ doing that shebang. Then we go to a Maximus, taking out the harsh and the S's and stuff like that. Limiter, taking out the static and doing the rest of that. Saturation knob, adding more presence to the whole vocal. Sound goodizer, not turned up too crazy for this specific mix the way it is. It just sounds better when it's not fully maxed. Another EQ doing that. And then fresh air adding some of the high air and the mid air back, which is just like the mid EQ presence and the high EQ presence. And that's that bus, and then also a light reverb, and then EQing out the reverb to get the stuff that's in the reverb that I don't want in it, so it doesn't take up so much space. Same thing with the delay. And yeah, that's the whole mix bus for that specific part of the song. On the second hook, the one that goes into the bridge, I layered it pretty heavily. It goes from just the two main and then double. It goes from that to this. Singing it in a really low pitch and then another pitch. I believe this is just the first regular take, but then it has like some effects on it. The effects looking like this. It's just so it has another like layer on the song. It's not turned up crazy. It's just specifically for the layering. And then after that, I believe these are like ad-libs. And then I have these ad-libs kind of pan in and pan out whenever I want them to come in and come out. And then, you know, they're EQ'd very heavily, so it kind of sounds like a phone. And then we have these a couple second, like high pitch vocals that are only saying like 2 lines. Just took the regular main and then just pitched it all the way up. Then adding that all together, and we got this beautiful piece of a mother clucking hook, bruh. And then all of it together. And then from that, there's also one part in the song where I do some cool effects to the this one part of the song on the beat. It's the melody, and I'm gonna just show that part specifically. For that, it's just a gross beat, which is doing the slow triplet. I love slow triplets. They add a great effect to certain parts of the melodies and just instrumental. And then from that, added an effect rack, which has this phase mistress and like this regular effect like shit. It's a phase wah, so it adds that wah 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 sound to it. So that's how we got that. And that is the entirety of the song. I'm gonna show you the outro, just kind of the pan ins, the pan outs, and the effects that it does at this moment. It's a lot of effect doing. It's this, let's see. First we got this reverb at the bottom. Well, first we got the volume fading in and then fading out, and then we have the specific thing that I want to actually fade in, fade out, and then we have a flanger mix that automates to come in, stay in, and then fade out at the end. And then we have the same thing with the reverb, fade in, stay, fade out. And let's see, the reverb looks like this. I believe my camera just cut off, but it's fine. It's fine. The reverb looks like that, and then the EQ is that, nothing crazy, and then just all those effects being at the end. And yeah, that's the whole song. So I hope that you guys can enjoy that and appreciate it. And I hope this song is something that y'all, really enjoyed, and I was happy to break it down. So yeah, I will catch you guys on the next fucking breakdown. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you again for buying the EP. I appreciate it heavily. This is very exclusive, and I'm happy to show it exclusively. So yeah, thank you.